The Tennessee House began a special session a couple hours ago with the same energy from the Republican majority as this spring when they expelled Democratic Representatives Justin Jones and Justin Pearson for daring to demand gun reform after a mass shooting in a Nashville school. Both Pearson and Jones were reelected in special elections. And today, at that special session, which was called by Republican Governor Bill Lee to tackle public safety and mental health, but apparently not gun reform, we found out the real agenda. Moments after the session began, Republicans approved new rules of order, which seemed to be aimed at preventing protests like the one led by Representatives Jones, Pearson, and Gloria Johnson. The new rules include limiting the number of people who can watch the special session, making designated space for lobbyists, and silencing any member ruled out of order.
We did not come up here for this special session to limit speech of the members of this body. We came up here to tackle a problem, or at least some of us thought we were going to, with gun violence that is impacting this state, that has killed countless people and school children. And instead, we're starting off amending the rules of this body to limit our democracy. It's ridiculous. This is absurd. This is absurd. Shame on every single one of you who voted for these rules.
Joining me now is Tennessee State Representative Justin Jones. And Representative Jones, I understand you've already been ruled out of order, but under the old rules, why were you ruled out of order?
Hi, Joy. Just got back from the chamber, and I was ruled out of order because I questioned, as we were debating the rules, where in the rules does it say how we can hold the speaker accountable for abusing his gavel and silencing members from speaking? We brought a megaphone to the House floor in the spring because our microphones were cut off. And rather than answer, the speaker cut my microphone off again and said I was not allowed to speak. And under these new rules that we just voted on, that the Republicans approved, it was strictly a party line vote. If a member is ruled out of order, they'll be silenced for up to 3 days starting and then indefinitely going forward from there. And so it seems like my Republican colleagues are more concerned with stopping dissent and silencing dissent than they are about stopping the crisis of mass shootings that should be the focus of this special session, about protecting kids and not guns.
It definitely feels very totalitarian, right? And some of the other rules that they passed today, why are they limiting the number of people who can be in the room, and why do lobbyists get special seating? Because that seems to be a part of the new rules.
I mean, today was the first time in Tennessee history that we had the rotunda cordoned off so the people could not even gather in a historic place of people voicing their opinions. The Tennessee Constitution says that the people's house, the door shall be open, but instead we've cordoned off the rotunda. We've shut off one half of the gallery just for lobbyists to have special seats, and the people can only sit on the left side. We've silenced dissent, and also this is the more egregious thing that was clarified. You can no longer bring a paper sign to committee rooms to protest, a small paper sign, but you can bring a gun to committee rooms. I mean, this is morally insane what is happening in Tennessee.
That is insane. So Governor Bill Lee initially called this special session. The idea was to do red flag laws, meaning you can temporarily remove firearms from somebody who has been judged a danger. Apparently, that's off the table, right? That's not happening. Are you guys going to vote on any gun reform legislation? And if so, what?
So many of us have tried to introduce bills around common sense gun laws, things like a ban on high capacity magazines, universal background checks, safe storage. Almost everything we introduced was not allowed to go through to be heard and calendared in committee to begin the process. And what they did is they bowed down to the extremist forces who were here at the Capitol today. Today, outside the Capitol, as you come to the Capitol, Joy, the Proud Boys had a banner and were standing out there. They were intimidating members in the hallway. You had people come with AR-15 standing around our Capitol. And so how are we to feel safe as members when they are emboldening these extremists? They're calling them to come here because this is who they are accountable and in solidarity with, white nationalists who are threatening our multiracial democracy and threatening children and mothers and families who are at the Capitol today begging for their lives. I mean, this is a very dangerous territory that we're in, a very dangerous place, and it's because of Cameron Sexton, the Speaker of the House, who has created this extreme environment that's put the lives of people of Tennessee at risk, and especially here at the Capitol right now.
Can I ask you to reiterate that? So because we understand there were protests, there are a couple hundred of people who were protesting on the side of gun reform. You're saying the counter protest included Proud Boys and people who had AR-15s were amassed outside of the Tennessee State House?
So there are many more people protesting for common sense gun laws, but this small group of fragile, predominantly white men were gathered outside as well with their Dollar General colors and their signs. They also had a banner hanging from the Capitol, and they were gathered at the steps. And some of them were following members around the hallway. I had to ask my assistant to lock the doors of our office because we don't know who will keep us safe in this building, because we know that the speaker and his Republican supermajority don't care about our safety or the safety of Tennesseans in general. And so they did a dog whistle call and response to bring the Proud Boys here. And that's who showed up on behalf of stopping common sense gun laws, because that's who's aligned with them. When the people, the majority of people, are aligned with what we're fighting for, which is common sense gun laws to keep our children safe and not bow down to this special interests like the Tennessee Farms Association and the NRA.
I want everybody to hear that. They are allowing firearms inside of committee rooms, but not a piece of paper with a protest. They're not allowing protesters in. They're barring people from witnessing what is not even democracy anymore in the state of Tennessee. You can only call that totalitarianism. We'd like to invite the speaker of the Tennessee House. You're welcome to come on this show because we would really like to talk to you. I have some questions for you, so please come on, Speaker Sexton. Tennessee State Representative Justin Jones, stay safe and thank you very much. And we'll have you back as well.